I tell people my real father died when I was 12. He was kind, I say. He listened. Then I stop talking, because the next part always hurts. Mom said, we need help, the year after the funeral. Just someone steady. That was when David showed up at our door with flowers and a calm voice. He looked at me and said, I'm not here to replace anyone. I wanted to believe him. Call me David, he said, smiling. Titles can wait. At dinner, he asked, how was school? I said, fine. He nodded like it mattered. Emma clapped and said, he's funny, Mom. Mom laughed. See, she told me, he's trying. I tried too. When David moved in, he said, I'll handle the bills. It's easier. Mom said, thank you. I said nothing. Later I asked, shouldn't we talk about it? He smiled and said, I've got this, son. In public, he squeezed my shoulder. Proud of you, he said. At home, his voice went flat. Don't argue with me. Mom would whisper, please, not tonight. I would nod and back away. Emma followed him everywhere. Can you help with homework? She asked. Of course, he said. Your brother's busy. I was sitting right there. Mom trusted him. David knows best, she said. He's responsible. When I said, I don't feel heard, she replied, you're being sensitive. One night I noticed the checkbook was gone. Did you move it? I asked. David said, why are you snooping? Mom said, stop accusing. I said, I was just asking. Phone calls came late. He stepped outside and said, I'll call you back. When he returned, I asked, everything okay? He snapped, mind your business. Then he smiled and said, sorry, long day. We can't afford that, Mom said. Money felt tight. I asked, what about Dad's savings? David said, already handled. I asked, how? He said, trust me. I kept telling myself, I'm overthinking. He lost his temper once and slammed a door. I didn't mean it, he said. Mom hugged him. He's stressed, she told me. At the table, David said, family means order. I said, family means listening. He stared at me. Careful, he said quietly. Mom said, enough. Emma stared at her plate. I tried again. Mom, can we talk alone? David said, what's wrong with now? Mom said, it's fine. I said, it's not. David said, lower your voice. Later, Mom whispered, please don't push him. I asked, why am I the one pushing? She said, he's keeping us afloat. I said, at what cost? She didn't answer. I found an envelope without a return address. What's this? I asked. David said, trash. I said, it's not opened. He took it from my hand. Drop it. I felt small then. I miss Dad, I said. David said, so do we. His eyes were cold, but life moves on. Mom squeezed his arm. I felt like a guest in my own house. When I spoke, the room went still. When he spoke, everyone moved. Lights off, he said. Bedtime. Emma obeyed. Mom nodded. One afternoon, he said, I'm doing this for us. I wanted peace. I wanted Mom happy. I wanted to believe the man who called himself my father. That night, I stared at the ceiling and told myself, he's helping. I said it again. He's helping. In the morning, David said, morning, champ. I said, morning. Mom smiled. Emma laughed. I swallowed my doubts. I told myself love requires patience. I told myself silence keeps peace. I told myself tomorrow would be better. I didn't know silence was training me to disappear. Before school, David said, we're a team. I nodded. He added, trust is everything. I nodded again. As I closed the door, I thought, trust shouldn't feel like fear, but I kept walking anyway. I promised myself to watch closely, even if it hurt. I woke up to voices slicing through the hallway. Mom said, where did the money go? David answered, keep your voice down. I stayed still, heart pounding, listening from my bed in the dark. This doesn't make sense, Mom said. The numbers keep changing. You're tired, David replied. You're confused. I'm not confused, she said. Your name wasn't on that account. My door creaked as I stood. Mom said, the lake house was paid off. My stomach dropped. That house was my dad's dream, his safe place. David said calmly, I sold it. There was silence. You did what? Mom whispered. I sold it, he repeated. We needed cash. That was his, she said. You didn't ask me. I'm your husband, David said. I decide. I stepped into the hall. You sold my dad's property? David turned fast. Why are you listening? I heard you, I said. You had no right. Mom looked between us. David, is this true? He rubbed his eyes. I didn't want it like this. You lied, I said. He pointed at me. He's the one stealing. The air vanished from my lungs. What? I said. Money's been missing, David said, for months. That's a lie, I said. Check everything. Mom said softly, why would he accuse you? I said, why would I steal from my dead father? David sighed. I protected him. By blaming me? I said. Emma appeared, rubbing her eyes. Why are you yelling? David knelt. It's okay, he said gently. Go back to bed. I'm telling the truth, I said. Mom pressed her hands together. Stop, please. David said, I've been under pressure. From lying? I asked. From surviving, he said. Mom looked at me. Did you take anything? No, I said. David said, I found proof. Show it, I said. He hesitated. Not right now. Mom covered her face. I can't do this. Emma started crying. Please don't fight. David stood. This isn't healthy. He looked at me. You need space. So I'm the problem? I asked. Mom said quietly, just for now. For now? I laughed. You believe him? He's my husband, she said. David said, I'm trying to protect this family. You're destroying it, I said. He stepped closer. Watch how you speak. Mom said, pack a bag. I froze. You want me gone? She whispered, until things calm down. Emma grabbed my sleeve. Don't leave. David said, this is best. I looked at Mom. Say something. She looked away. I packed in silence. My hands shook. Emma cried in the doorway. I believe you, she said. Remember that, I told her. At the door, David said, I hope you get help. You'll regret this, I said. He smiled. I already do. I stepped outside into the cold night. The door shut behind me. I stood there with my bag, staring at the house. One night, one lie. I had lost my family without proof, without power, and without a way back. I woke up to voices slicing through the hallway. Mom said, where did the money go? David answered, keep your voice down. I stayed still, heart pounding, listening from my bed in the dark. This doesn't make sense, Mom said. The numbers keep changing. You're tired, David replied. You're confused. I'm not confused, she said. Your name wasn't on that account. My door creaked as I stood. Mom said, the lake house was paid off. My stomach dropped. That house was my dad's dream, his safe place. David said calmly, I sold it. There was silence. You did what? Mom whispered. I sold it, he repeated. We needed cash. That was his, she said. You didn't ask me. I'm your husband, David said. I decide. I stepped into the hall. You sold my dad's property? David turned fast. Why are you listening? I heard you, I said. You had no right. Mom looked between us. David, is this true? He rubbed his eyes. I didn't want it like this. You lied, I said. He pointed at me. He's the one stealing. The air vanished from my lungs. What? I said. Money's been missing, David said, for months. That's a lie, I said. Check everything. Mom said softly, why would he accuse you? I said, why would I steal from my dead father? David sighed. I protected him. By blaming me? I said. Emma appeared, rubbing her eyes. Why are you yelling? David knelt. It's okay, he said gently. Go back to bed. I'm telling the truth, I said. Mom pressed her hands together. Stop, please. David said, I've been under pressure. From lying? I asked. From surviving, he said. Mom looked at me. Did you take anything? No, I said. David said, I found proof. Show it, I said. He hesitated. Not right now. Mom covered her face. I can't do this. Emma started crying. Please don't fight. David stood. This isn't healthy. He looked at me. You need space. So, I'm the problem? I asked. Mom said quietly, just for now. For now? I laughed. You believe him? He's my husband, she said. David said, I'm trying to protect this family. You're destroying it, I said. He stepped closer. Watch how you speak. Mom said, pack a bag. I froze. You want me gone? She whispered, until things calm down. Emma grabbed my sleeve. Don't leave. David said, this is best. I looked at Mom. Say something. She looked away. I packed in silence. My hands shook. Emma cried in the doorway. I believe you, she said. Remember that, I told her. At the door, David said, I hope you get help. You'll regret this, I said. He smiled. I already do. I stepped outside into the cold night. The door shut behind me. I stood there with my bag, staring at the house. One night, one lie. I had lost my family without proof, without power, and without a way back. I slept on Sarah's couch, staring at the ceiling, hearing David's voice in my head. You need space, I whispered. You needed control. The room was quiet, but my chest wouldn't calm down. Sarah asked, Did you eat? I'm not hungry, I said. You haven't slept either, she said. I closed my eyes, I said. That's it. She sat across from me. Say it out loud. They chose him, I said. They were confused, she replied. They believed him, I said. She said, that doesn't make it true. I replayed everything. David saying, trust me. Mom saying, don't push him. Me saying nothing. I said, I should have fought earlier. Sarah said, you survived. I stayed quiet, I said. I let him erase me. She leaned forward. You didn't know he was dangerous. I felt it, I said. I ignored it. My phone buzzed. Uncle Mark's name lit the screen. I heard what happened, he said. You always warned her, I said. He's done this before, Mark said. I sat up. What do you mean? Different woman, he said. Same story. My hands shook. Scams? Money games, he said. Fake losses, real theft. I swallowed hard. Why didn't you tell me? You wouldn't have been heard, he said. I wasn't heard anyway, I said. Don't confront him yet. Listen now, he said. I don't want revenge, I said. Good, he replied. You want truth. I hung up and stared at the wall. Sarah asked, what did he say? He's done this before, I said. She nodded. So you're not crazy? I feel crazy, I said, like I imagined it. You didn't, she said. You were trained to doubt yourself. Memories came back fast. David saying, let me handle it. David saying, you're too emotional. David saying, your mom needs peace. I said, he pushed me out slowly. Sarah said, that's how control works. I watched him replace me, I said. He didn't replace you, she said. He silenced you. Fear crept in. What if I'm wrong? I asked. Sarah said, What if you're right? I looked down. I don't have proof. Not yet, she said. That night I dreamed of the lake house, Dad said. Speak. I woke up shaking. Sarah handed me water. You can stay, she said. I don't want to hide, I said. Then don't, she replied. Stand still. I sat there, breathing, feeling anger and fear twist together. I said, I won't attack him. Sarah said, then observe. I won't beg them, I said. Then build yourself, she said. I looked at my phone, at Mom's name, unread messages. I said, I just want the truth. Sarah said, then stop running from it. I nodded slowly. I will. I went back to the house when I knew no one would be home. I told myself, just documents. I unlocked the door like a thief in my own past. The silence felt heavier than the night I was thrown out. I whispered, Dad, help me. Then I moved. The study smelled the same. I opened drawers fast. Old folders, warranties, manuals. Then I heard a voice. Looking for something? Mrs. Peterson stood in the doorway across the hall holding her mail. I forgot some papers, I said. She tilted her head. Your stepfather didn't like papers lying around. My heart skipped. What do you mean? She lowered her voice. Months ago, I saw him carrying files at night. Where? I asked. To his car, she said. He looked nervous. I swallowed. Did you see what kind? Legal, she said. Envelopes. Thick ones. Thank you, I said. She nodded. Be careful. After she left, I found a locked cabinet. I forced it open. Inside were bank statements. I said, this isn't right. Numbers didn't match. Dates overlapped. Transfers circled back. I took photos with my phone. I said out loud, you planned this. I drove straight to Mr. Collins's office. When he saw me, he said, you look like your father. I just need copies, I said. Estate files. He frowned. That's unusual. I lost mine, I said. He sighed. Sit. He pulled folders and said, your father was careful. I know, I said. He paused. These signatures don't match. My chest tightened. What? See here, he said. Your father signed clean. And these? I asked. They're rushed, he said. Different pressure. I whispered, someone forged them. Mr. Collins looked at me. You didn't hear that from me. But you see it, I said. He nodded once. Yes. I stood up too fast. So I'm not crazy. No, he said. You're late. Outside, I sat in my car shaking. I said, he sold it illegally. Fear hit hard, then hope followed. I said, I can prove it. My phone rang, Sarah said. Did you find anything? Yes, I said. Everything. She said, then you're not a victim anymore. I don't feel strong, I said. You're standing, she replied. I drove away knowing one thing. David wasn't untouchable. His mask had cracked, and I had finally learned how to look through it. I sat across from Mom at a cafe she chose. She said, you look tired. I am, I said. She stirred her drink. David says you're angry. He would, I said. She frowned. Why won't you apologize? Because I didn't lie, I said. She sighed. I just want peace. At my cost? I asked. She didn't answer. I stood and said, I love you. She whispered, I know. It felt like goodbye. Outside, I called Emma. No answer. I texted, please talk to me. The message stayed unread. I stared at the screen and said, he turned you against me. The thought burned, then cooled into something heavier. Sarah said, you could expose him now. I know, I said. Why won't you? Because it would break her, I said. Sarah said. And breaking yourself is better? I won't shatter her to save me, I said. David's lies traveled fast. A neighbor told me. He says you stole. I said, he's lying. The neighbor shrugged. He sounded convincing. I laughed without humor. He always does. I checked my messages again. Nothing from Emma. I said, I'm losing her. Sarah said, not forever. I don't want revenge, I said. Then what? I want truth, I said, the kind that stands alone. I decided to wait. Silence is not surrender, I told myself. It's preparation. I started logging dates, times, transfers. I said, be patient. The words felt foreign but right. An unknown number called. Don't say my name, a man said. Who is this? I asked. Someone he betrayed, he said. David? Yes, he said. He always does. My pulse jumped. Why call me? Because you're next, he said. I already was, I said. He paused. Then you survived. He said, he forged signatures. I know, I said. He stole from partners, he said. I'm listening, I said. Meet when you're ready, he said. I'm Ryan. The line went dead. I sat still. Sarah asked, was that him? Yes, I said. Your proof, she said. Not yet, I said, but soon. That night, I drafted messages I didn't send. Please believe me. I deleted them. I have proof. I deleted those too. I said, not yet. My chest ached, but my head stayed clear. David posted photos online. Smiles, dinners, family, the caption said. I said, you're daring me. I closed the app. I won't react. I called Emma again. Voicemail. I said, I'm here. I hung up and breathed through the fear. I said, wait. Sarah said, you're changing. I'm learning, I said. You're choosing control, she said. I'm choosing timing, I replied. I wrote one sentence and taped it to the wall. Truth needs patience. I looked at it and said, I can be patient. I wasn't silent because I was weak. I was silent because I was building something he couldn't outrun. I heard it from a stranger first. Did you know David's company is under review? He said. I replied, for what? He shrugged. Money issues. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just said, I see. Mom called that night. People are talking, she said. About him? I asked. Yes, she said. It's nonsense. I said, is it? She snapped. Don't start. I stayed quiet. David's voice came through the phone. We're handling it, he said. Good, I replied. He paused. You sound calm. I am, I said. Sarah said, this is it. No, I said. This is the beginning. You don't look happy, she said. I'm not, I said. Mom said, he's stressed. I said, stress reveals truth. She said, you always judge him. I said, I'm observing. David stopped calling me names. He stopped calling at all. I heard he yelled at staff. Someone said, he's not charming anymore. I whispered, masks crack. Ryan texted, meet. I said, where? Same place, he said. He slid a folder across the table. Everything you need, he said. I opened it slowly. These are signatures. Forged, he said. My father's, I said. Yes, he replied. My hands shook. He signed my dad's name. Ryan nodded, multiple times. I closed my eyes. Why? Greed, he said. Fear. I wanted to scream. I didn't. Thank you, I said. You're calm, he said. I'm tired, I replied. Mom said, they're asking questions. Who? I asked. Banks, she said. I said, that happens. She said, you sound cold. I'm careful, I said. She whispered, do you know something? I said, I know enough. Tell me, she begged. Not yet, I said. David's smile disappeared online. No posts, no dinners. Someone said, he's hiding. I said, truth is loud even when you're quiet. Emma finally texted, is Mom okay? I replied, I hope so. David's angry, she wrote. I know, I said. Is it my fault? She asked. No, I said. None of this is. I stared at the documents. Dates, names, lies. I said, I don't feel victory. Sarah said, what do you feel? Grief, I said. For him? For us, I said. Ryan said, he'll fall. I know, I said. You could push, he said. I might, I replied. I said, I won't, I replied. Why? Because karma already started, I said. Mom said, I'm scared. I am too, I said. Then help us, she said. I am, I replied. I watched from a distance as his world tightened. Meetings canceled, calls unanswered. His voice lost its edge. I said, this isn't revenge. I said, this is consequence. That night, I placed my father's forged signature on the table. I whispered, I didn't fail you. I didn't feel joy. I felt sadness that truth had to hurt this much before it could be heard. I laid the folder on the kitchen table and said, please read this. Mom said, I don't want another fight. This isn't a fight, I said. It's the truth. She opened the papers. Her hands started shaking. What am I looking at? Dates, I said. Transfers, signatures. She whispered, these are your father's. They're forged, I said. Her face drained. No. Yes, I said. I would have known, she said. He made sure you didn't, I replied. Emma stood in the doorway. Why are you crying? Mom tried to hide the papers. Go to your room. Emma said, no. I said, stay. Mom read again. This can't be real. It is, I said. She dropped the folder and said, I trusted him. The door opened. David walked in and froze. What's going on? I said, sit down. He laughed. Excuse me? Sit, I said again. Mom said, did you forge his signature? David smiled. You're letting him poison you. Answer her, I said. He said, you're emotional. She shouted, did you do it? David sighed. I protected us. By stealing? Emma asked. He snapped. Stay out of this. Don't talk to her like that, I said. He turned to me. You planned this. No, I said. You did. Mom said. The lawyer confirmed it. What lawyer? He asked. I said, Mr. Collins. His smile slipped. He's mistaken. Right then, Mr. Collins stepped inside. I'm not. David backed up. You can't be here. I can, Collins said, and I brought company. 2 officers entered. One said, David Harris? David said, this is harassment. The officer said, forgery and fraud. Mom covered her mouth. Oh my God. David pointed at me. He did this. I said, I didn't sign my dead father's name. Emma cried. Why would you do this? David's voice cracked. I was scared. Of what? Mom asked. Losing everything, he said. You already did, I replied. He stepped toward me. You think you won? I think you're done, I said. He whispered, I'll ruin you. The officer said, enough. David dropped to his knees. Please, he said to Mom. She stepped back. I don't know you. He screamed, I did this for you. She said, you destroyed us. He looked at Emma. Tell them I'm good. She shook her head. I'm scared of you. His face twisted. You turned them against me. I said, you did that yourself. The officers cuffed him. He struggled. I'll be back. I said, no, you won't. He spat. You think you're better? I think I'm free, I replied. Mom collapsed into a chair. I failed you. I knelt. You were lied to. She sobbed. I chose him. I know, I said, but it ends now. As they took him away, the house felt quiet for the first time. I stood straight, heart steady. The truth was louder than his lies, and everyone could finally hear it. I watched the news on Sarah's phone. The reporter said, local businessman arrested. I said, that's him. Sarah asked, do you feel better? No, I said. I feel quiet. Mom wouldn't leave her room. When she did, she said, everyone knows. They know the truth, I said. She said, I didn't protect you. You didn't know, I replied. She cried anyway. I should have listened. People stared when we went out. Someone whispered, that's his family. I wanted to shout, we aren't him. I stayed silent. Emma barely spoke. I asked, are you okay? She said, I don't know who to trust. You can trust me, I said. She nodded, then looked away. It hurt more than anger. David's name disappeared fast. His website vanished. Friends unfollowed him. Someone said, he was always fake. I said, you didn't see it when it mattered. Mom said, I keep replaying everything. So do I said. She asked, do you hate me? I said, I'm hurt. She said, that's worse. I visited her kitchen at night. She said, I hear his voice. I do too, I said. She whispered, I chose wrong. I said, you were fooled. Emma asked, is he coming back? No, I said. She said, good. Then she cried. I held her and said nothing. Sarah said, justice worked. It cost a lot, I said. Would you change it? No, I said, but it didn't heal me. Mom said, I want to fix this. It will take time, I said. She nodded. I'll wait. I walked past the house and felt empty, not proud, not angry, just done, I said. Truth didn't save us. It freed us. At night, I told my dad's photo. I didn't enjoy this. I felt peace anyway. Justice didn't give me joy. It gave me space to breathe.